me again, Miss Josephine Bugsik, and I will still be your instructor for today. So in this video, I will be continuing what has been cut on our last video about communication, its nature, processes, and the main elements. Last video ended with a scenario about somebody calling me and I wasn't able to understand whatever he or she or whoever is in the line is saying just because of the interference between me as the receiver of the message and him or her as somebody who is sending it. Our topic for today has still something to do with the topic that we have last video. Since last video, there is a missing element in the diagram of the communication process that is affecting the sender, the message, and the receiver. And today we are going to identify what is that element that is missing and what is its relevant or effects on the different elements of communication. This diagram shows the whole communication process and the different elements of communication. The one encircled is the one that is affecting the sender, the message and the channel, and also the receiver. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic for today, noise. Let us first identify our objectives for this lesson. The first one is identify the different types of noise. And the second one is differentiate the types and kind of noise in communication. Noise refers to anything that interferes or hinders the communication process. Other terms for noise are barrier or interference. There are two different kinds of noise, internal noise and external noise. When we say internal noise, it has something to do with the things that are inside the person that is sending the message or the person that is receiving the message. When we say internal noise, it's something that we might be thinking or we might be feeling during the time of the communication process. To simply explain it, let me quote, "It's not you, it's me." On the other hand, external noise is the noise that comes from the outside of the communication process. So it could be the children playing at the park, it could be your neighbor singing in their karaoke, it could be the heavy rainfall, it could be the thunder, it could be the vehicles passing on the street, it could be your friends chit-chatting in the background of you talking to another person. So it is anything that is happening from the outside of the communication process that interfere in the process when it comes to receiving and sending the message. Now that we are aware with the kinds of noise, let us proceed to the different types of noise. So when we say types of noise, these are the different categories of noise that we encounter in different scenarios and in different situations whenever we are communicating. First one is semantic noise. When we say semantic noise, it is something to do with the meaning of the words or the phrases or sentences that are used in the communication process. There are two types of semantic noise, denotative and connotative. Denotative semantic noise is when the sender and the receiver disagree with the definition of a word, a phrase, or a statement in the communication process. For example, a very sensitive word, gender. And when we say gender, some people would say that this is assigned the very moment that you are born. But some people would claim that gender is a choice and having their gender identity is something that is decided by them as time goes by. Connotative semantic noise is when a speaker and the listener has a different interpretation of a certain word, phrase, or statement used in the communication process. For example, I am the sender and I say, "Please get the cream." So, please get the cream. So the word cream could be different in interpretation. I may be pertaining to the cream used in the kitchen during making pastries and delicacies, or even in cooking some viand. But the listener could interpret it as the one used in your face during your skincare routine. Communication can be disrupted by mistakes in grammar, such as an abrupt change in verb tense during a sentence. This is syntactic noise. Just like in this example, sudden change in tensing and grammar can cause confusion to both the sender and receiver. The next type of noise is the environmental noise. Well, this type is the most common among all the types because this is really experienced by all of us, especially now that we are learning from the comforts of our homes. So, when we say environmental noise, it has something to do with the noise that physically disrupts the communication process. So, for example, it could be the loudspeaker at a party or sounds from a construction site next to a classroom, blowing of horns from vehicles outside, banging of the doors from an adjacent room, screaming of the children in the playground. Next type of noise is the organizational noise, which is a product or a result of a poorly structured or unplanned message or sentence in the communication process. So this usually occurs when you are giving direction, instruction, you are saying something that needed to be followed, but then you structured the instruction poorly. That is why the receiver or the listener really find it hard to follow or to understand the statement that you are giving. So, an example of this can be your boss giving instructions or directions about your new project, and then the instruction is vague, ambiguous, or not clear. Thus, your project turned out to be erroneous. The next type on our list is psychological noise. When we say psychological noise, it refers to different attitudes that can make communication difficult sometimes. It could be a significant anger, happiness, or sadness, or even an emotional state and feeling that can really affect, in one way or another, the process of communication. Just like, for example, a student who has just been scolded by his father may not be in his best when he is called by the teacher to answer a question. Example number two, if someone is preoccupied with a problem, the person may be inattentive at a team meeting. Number six on our list is physiological impairment noise. This noise is caused by the physical conditions of the sender or the receiver, such as blindness, being deaf and mute, that could hinder or interfere in effective communication. A good example is a two-person with two opposing conditions, a blind and a deaf mute. A blind cannot see sign language that a deaf mute will be doing, and the deaf mute cannot hear whatever the blind person is saying. Thus, the interference in sending and receiving the message is already there given. That is why it can hinder or affect effective communication. And the last type of noise for this video is the cultural noise. Well, this one is the vastest and the widest in scope because in different cultures found on earth comes different rules and a variety of beliefs and traditions that could in one way or another be different from another culture. Here are some examples. Now that you are knowledgeable with the different types and kinds of noise, you now have the power to at least control the different factors to avoid and lessen the effects of these noises. I am very thankful and glad that you had come to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. God bless us all. Goodbye!